What are you talking to students and faculty at Union College about?
Well, I've done a lot of research on the nature of human morality, especially altruism, positive altruism, people liking to help each other, and negative altruism, which means trying to hurt people who hurt you or are antisocial in some way. We use game theory, and we do a lot of laboratory experiments, and also in the field in many countries, including small-scale societies such as hunter-gatherer societies in the Amazon and herders in the Mongolia, etc.
Is there a particular message that you want a student to come away with during your time here? Some of the sessions you've had, are there some sort of points you want them to understand?
Well, I think the most important thing is in some of their classes, they don't get some really important parts of human behavior that we know are very important. In economics, they tend to tell you that people are self-interested, and that's just only half true. People are very often motivated by things other than self-interest. And in sociology, they learn about all sorts of stuff about how people are enculturated to socialize, to behave properly. But none of their classes do they talk about a major human emotion, which is revenge, vindication, getting back at people who hurt you, hurting people who hurt society. This is absolutely fundamental, major human emotion. It's not discussed in any classes. It's not really part of any discipline, but we found it to be very important in our work and with people. It's a major human motivation. I was just reading today, this woman, I was reading in the newspaper, this woman said, someone broke into my car and they stole my GPS and my credit cards and my wallet, and I was so angry. And of course I got a new credit cards and I got a new GPS, but I was so angry that I put a note on eBay saying, Craigslist, saying I needed GPS. And some guy answered it, and it was my GPS, and I went over to his house and I called the police and this and that. You say, well, why did you do that? What do you care? I mean, what do you care? You're done with it. No, but I want to get back at him. This notion of revenge is, and we take it as perfectly normal. Perfectly normal that people behave that way. And it is, but it's just not in any course. It's not in any university course. I once asked my father-in-law, my mother-in-law got mugged in Bloomingdale's. You know, it was a 75-year-old woman, mugged in Bloomingdale's, and they took her credit cards. And they caught the person who did it. And my father-in-law said, Flora and I, we went to the courtroom when he was being prosecuted, and we went there every day and saw that he was prosecuted and put in jail. I said, well, why did you do that? What do you care? I mean, I know society cares. You know, we have to stop criminals. But why do you care personally about this? And he thought I was crazy. Well, of course I care. And I said, well, what if it were somebody else? Would you go down there if somebody else's wife were mugged? No, of course not. My wife was mugged. So there's this basic human emotion that we all have and we understand implicitly, but they don't talk about it in any sociology course or political science or social psychology or economics. But we talk about it in our work a lot, and it's been a major, I think, influence on changing the way human behavior is conceptualized theoretically.
How did you get interested in this? What was your entree into this particular area?
Well, I always was interested in why humans behave the way they do. It seemed to me that's just something that always interested me. And I studied 7 different ways that people talked about it in sociology and economics, philosophy, biology. And so finally I just tried to put them all together to make one consistent, coherent theory of human behavior. And also very important has been what we call sociobiology, which is the notion that humans are a social species, but we're not the only social species. There are many social species. And every social species is a little different from every other social species, like bees or ants. They're very social, but they're not like us. So we get a lot out of the interplay, the contrast and comparison of different social species. How are we different from other cooperative social species? And that's been a very strong influence. And I talk about that a lot. So we do a lot of evolutionary biology. Look, I'm an economist, but I publish in biology, anthropology, political science, sociology, whatever field. Because the questions don't. When you ask the right question, it almost never keeps you in the same field. It almost always makes you branch out into other fields. So that's what I've done, and that's why I think it's been very successful.
That also seems a challenge because to cover so many fields. You're an economist by training. How did you make that leap, and how did you find yourself dealing in, say, biology?
Okay, well, the most important thing is to work in many fields, you have to use both parts of your brain. You have to be literate, and you have to be at home with ethnological arguments and historical arguments and general philosophical arguments, but you also have to be mathematically literate. And my background is in mathematics, but also I studied French and ancient history and ancient philosophy, and so I developed the skills. Now, once you get those, the real drawback, what I do would have been impossible 20 years ago, because I use the internet. See, I can work in 6 fields because I can get the books and the articles from instantaneously on the internet. It used to take weeks to get a book, or get articles from the library. I can email someone who's an expert in the field if I don't understand something, and they'll tell me where to look, references, or even talk about it. So we're in a different world today where academics don't have to be bound to one discipline, because the internet makes it possible to do all sorts of incredible research and get feedback, and you can just disseminating papers used to be really, really hard. What do? You write a paper with cutting and pasting and Xeroxing and rough. And then, who reads it? Well, for 4 years later, it comes out in a journal somewhere. Now, it's on your website, everybody's downloading it, you get comments, they upload it. It's like, it's speeded up research by a factor of 10, I would say.
That sort of goes to my next question. I notice your forthcoming book is not yet published, but you've got that on the web.
Yes.
You're asking people for comments.
Yes.
That's
not uncommon.
Okay.
No. My publishers are a little concerned about that, but if you're in the industry, there are people who've made their careers by giving away, like musicians giving away songs, or poets giving away poems, and then hoping you'll buy, or novelists giving away a novel and hoping you'll buy the other novels that they've written that haven't done very well. Now I can write, go buy one of my novels. Moreover, we don't charge anyone who wants to read the book and is willing to download 500 pages and shift through them, that's fine. If they don't want to spend the $25 for the book, who cares? But enough people will learn from that and they'll buy the book. So the publishers are pretty okay with that. And I've done that with many books. I mean, I have 3 books on the web. I have 5 books on the web that are all right out there on the web, complete. Including one that's not even published yet. It's called Mathematics for Humanists.
Well, it goes to your the cooperative nature of you.
No, I'm perfectly not cooperative. I'm a total hard-nosed, right-wing
Well, then let me
curmudgeon.
ask you, okay. Are humans inherently cooperative or altruistic?
Yes,
Okay.
there are 2 things. I can give you a wonderful picture. Humans are inherently murderous, and they're inherently cooperative. And they fit together. The reason we're so cooperative is that as hunter-gatherers, the groups, there was fighting constantly among hunter-gatherer groups. The ones that succeeded were the ones that cooperated with each other. So they were courage, and they had this whole idea that we work as a group, we cooperate, and we kill the other guys. So cooperation and mayhem fit together very nicely. And now, of course, I don't condone murder, and I think that we have to control killing, and we should do none of it. But it's still part of our nature. It's like, you get cavities. Humans get cavities. It's the only part of your body that you go to a doctor for regularly is your teeth. Why would you? You go to an elbow doctor? No. You go to a dentist. The only doctor you go to, except for you have a very specialized. Why? We just have bad teeth. You're never going to cure that, but we can deal with it. Well, humans are murderous. Not everyone's murderous, but almost everyone can become murderous, as you could see by the Holocaust. You know, these normal, everyday people just sat around and watched them shoveling people into ovens and then taking their property. I mean, it's hard to believe, but almost anyone, at least enough people can be, so that we're always on the edge of social chaos. It has to be, you have to be really careful to not fall into social chaos. And the larger societies we have, the more dangerous it is. When it was a bunch of small-scale societies, so two of them fought with each other and one killed the other one off. But when they're huge societies and they get caught up in this, how many people know what the First World War was about? Do you know what the First World War was? Nobody knows. It wasn't about anything. It had no cause. Just people started fighting and hating each other and then getting all patriotic about it. And, I'm going to fight for my country. Well, what are you fighting for? Well, we don't like the Kaiser. Why not? Well, he's a dumb crowd, So this is just possible. It's very serious. But humans are innately cooperative, loving, sacrificing, sensitive. They have character virtues like honesty and courage and wisdom and considerateness that they behave with all the time with people. But there's this other side, which is when the time comes, they're killers, and they support that, and they flourish on that, unfortunately.